What's going on, folks? Welcome back to D-Life HD. This is Victor, and we recently had a Nintendo Direct, which I have not covered in full. I'm not sure that I will. There was a lot of controversy over whether or not it was a good Direct, but the highlight of said Direct for me was a fourth trailer for Monster Hunter Rise. If you've been watching the channel for a few months now, you'll know that I have been covering it since the first trailer dropped, and I am beyond excited for this game to come out. And there's so much to get to in this first trailer, so without any further delay, let's jump right into it.
I was a worker, had to upgrade to a boss. Used to live in the hood, but had to upgrade to a loft.
Oh boy, alright, let's jump right into this trailer. It is titled Rampage Trailer, and goes over the Rampage mechanics and those type of quests. Not in a lot of detail, but that's towards the end of the trailer. I guess that was the main thing they wanted to highlight. But in addition, they announced a plethora of other things that I am hyped for, starting off with a clean night shot of the sandy plains. Now, we were unsure if we were going to get a desert map in this game. They hadn't really officially announced it, whereas in previous trailers they'd shown off the volcano map, which we'll get to later, without actually coming forward and saying that it was going to be a part of the game. But then, of course, we saw it in different trailers, so we were pretty dead set that there was going to be a lava map. And then we also saw the snow map, the Frost Islands, and so we weren't sure about a desert map. But in an IGN video that they posted on character customization and animal customization, being the Palicos and the Palamutes, they actually showed off within a few frames, going through where you can put your Palico or your Palamute on a background to kind of see what it would look like out in the wild. And briefly they showed off a snippet of a desert map. Now, the orange and sort of the sandy colors, I wasn't sure if it was just the mud from the flooded forest, but I was pretty sure it was going to be a desert map. And one thing that's really cool is my favorite video game of all time is Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and I love the map designs on that game, and one of which being the flooded forest that they're remaking and reimagining for this game. And alongside of that, they have the desert map, the Sandy Plains from 3rd generation of Monster Hunter. Now, the desert maps are not always my favorite ones, but I absolutely loved Sandy Plains because there was a lot of clashing areas. And another feature of it was having a night mode where certain quests would take place at night, and rather than being the scorching desert it would be freezing cold, which is really realistic, and I love that. And it looks like they're bringing that back, but this desert map is fully like a reimagined version of that old map that I really love. And it's got less of a just straight desert feel and more of like a African safari feel, because there's a lot of vegetation and like swampy type areas, and I absolutely love that. That's something that I thought was really cool from that map in the older games. And yes, it is fully that map just remastered, and I have a lot of memories of going and hunting Baroth in this muddy area and going against Nibblesnarf out in the wide areas, and Diablos, who they actually announced is returning for this game. He's sort of an icon when it comes to Monster Hunter, being like this Triceratops wyvern type mix, and it's good to see him back. But this map is thrilling me because this is my favorite desert map, and I can't wait to see it reimagined. Moving on, we get to see a couple new monsters shown. One of them is Basarios, who is a weirder monster. He's got a frame that's similar to another monster called Gravios, and they exist, both of them, in more of the warmer climates, which alongside of that we got to see fully the volcano map that I mentioned earlier. It's really cool that they showed off both maps here, and that is really exciting because that map is looking sick. And another sort of trend we're seeing here is multiple different types of biomes within the same map, and it looks like this fire and volcano map is not just going to be the scorching heat, but it's got these sort of underground cavern areas with glowing blue water, and that contrast just adds so much depth to the map. The Shrine Ruins, which is the map we got to play in the demo and was first revealed in the original trailer, I'm not a huge fan of it because there's not a lot of variety in the color scheme and it just looks really muddy overall. But seeing the way that the desert clashes with other areas around it and the way that this volcano map has a sort of more mild toned area with this glowing blue water section, it's super cool. And we also got to see the new spider monster, which I am extremely excited for. He was shown off, and his name is really hard to pronounce, so I will probably mess it up, but it's something like Rachna Kadaki or Kadaki, I don't know. But he is looking amazing, and he is set in this volcano map. One thing that I loved doing in Monster Hunter 4 was hunting Narcilla, who was the original spider monster in the Volcanic Hollow, which is one of my favorite maps from that game. And it looks like I'm going to get to re-experience sort of something very similar to that, being able to fight Rachna in this volcano-type area, and that is something that is really exciting for me. Now, we're moving on to something that I absolutely love, and they haven't showed much of him yet, but he is looking fantastic, and that is a new monster called Almudron. And he has the word mud in his name. I think it's really clever because he is a mud-based monster. And he looks really similar to me personally, having more of a slithering type body design to Mizutsune. And I can see how people would compare them, but I think he's looking sick. And he's got this sort of ancient Japanese or Chinese design on his face, where he has sort of a dragon type face with the mustache. I actually kind of made a pun saying that he was called Mr. Mudstache, and if you don't call him that, then you're not a true fan. But the way that he's designed is just fantastic. He's moving around. Clearly we're going to get to fight him in the more muddy areas that you would have fought Baroth in the sandy plains, but also the flooded forest most likely. We've seen 2 different clips from his announcement in this trailer, and it just looks so good. I can't wait to fight this guy. I can't wait to see what his armor's like. There's some speculation on if we've seen his armor in the demo, but I don't think so. I think this is one we haven't seen yet. And it pays tribute to how well these new monsters are going to be designed for this game, and I'm super, super excited to hunt it. It's got these giant mud like pillars that come up out of the ground, and it's going to add a lot of verticality to the hunt, and I just think it's going to be a super unique experience, and somewhat familiar because we've hunted Mizutsune in the older games and also in the demo. Finally, we get to see a little bit of the Rampage mechanic, which is looking spicy, I have to say. It looks so much fun. It's just basically like a wave battle type thing. One game that I really liked was Balloons Tower Defense. That's a game that I have played for many, many years, and I'm not necessarily thinking that it's just going to be continuous monsters coming forward and you just got to continuously fight them, but we're seeing 4 monsters on the map at one time, which is the most we've ever seen in the entire franchise. I'm really worried what the frame rate is going to be like, especially running on the Nintendo Switch. I love it, but I mean, I'm not going to shy away from saying that it is an underpowered system, but the fact that they're able to pull that off, it's breathtaking, honestly. And they also announced Apex monsters, which they kind of roped us in with it, honestly. I am a little bit disappointed at the way that they went about this announcement, because Apex monsters was a system from Monster Hunter 4, and they were centered around the Frenzy virus that Gore Magala caused. And so it made me originally think that Gore Magala, oh, he's confirmed for the game. We have Apex monsters. It's called by the exact name that it was in the previous game, so I'm going to assume that it's the same exact mechanic. But it doesn't appear to be the case, because in other countries where they speak different languages, like Japanese, I know that they are referring to it by a completely different name than they did in Monster Hunter 4. And that's just super weird to me that they would do that, but maybe they're just trying to get the attention of the older fans like me. I don't know, but from what I understand, it seems like the Apex monsters in this game are just going to be the boss monsters of the Rampage mechanic. You're going to have probably 4 monsters come onto the map, maybe in waves of 2 or maybe 1 at a time. I'm not sure, but you're gonna have to fight them. And then finally, once you got all of them out of the way, the monster that was causing them to rampage, an apex monster. And he's in some sort of blight state, so he's much more powerful. Maybe it's something caused by Magna Malo, the flagship. That would be really cool. Sort of similar to the Apex mechanic from the previous games, but not quite the same. And the monster that they showed off as an example was Arzuros. Apex Arzuros was looking really, really cool with the red eyes and sort of the black aura around him. And so I'm really curious to see once we get more info on the Rampage mechanic. Coming to a close on this video, they announced a second Monster Hunter digital event, and it looks like they're not only going to show off Rise stuff, but also stuff from Monster Hunter Stories 2. And I think we're going to get the final 5th trailer, and I'm going to cross my fingers that we get a 6th map. Because for me, it's not just about the monsters, it's about the locales. And what they've shown off already, it's good, but I would like sort of an off-the-wall design. Because we have like the Shrine Ruins, which is just kind of your typical foresty first map. We've got our desert map, we've got our snow map, we've got our fire map, and then we have the Flooded Forest, which is sort of just like another jungle map. But I hope that we get something kind of off the wall. Maybe something like the Rotten Vale that we saw in Monster Hunter World, which I thought that map was so cool. It was a really awesome design, and I want them to do something like that again, or maybe just something I haven't even thought of and won't even expect. But I really hope that they do something like that and show off a new map. They also have a picture of the jungle map from Monster Hunter Freedom and Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, the 2nd generation, and in the background of one of the clips that they've showed off. And so I'm wondering, maybe we'll see that jungle map return, because that map is one of my favorites and it's beautiful, and it would be really, really cool to see it. I mean, they'd be hitting home all of my favorite maps getting remastered, like Sandy Plains, Jungle. I guess Volcanic Hollow would be another one that I'd like to see, but we already have a fire map, so that's probably not likely. I also think that they're going to show off the Rampage mechanic, because they have said that they're doing during or following the digital event the next day or the next 2 days. I think they're doing a gameplay showcase, which is probably similar to what they did when the game was first announced, and they did an Arzuros hunt. And so I'm wondering, maybe we'll see more about this Rampage mechanic before the game comes out, or maybe it'll sort of be a surprise, and when we get in the game, it'll be the first thing we see. But also, they haven't showed off any Elder Dragons, so I think maybe on this new trailer that we're hoping to get, we'll see our first Elder Dragon, and then the rest will be a secret for when we actually play the game. It really seems like they're leaning into announcing everything ahead of time, and I'm okay with that. I feel like I probably would enjoy the game more if I had not constantly been searching for all of the content that had been announced, every single bit of it, and eating it up. But at the same time, that's helping my hype levels. So I hope that there is something to pair with that has not been announced, so that when I actually jump down to play the game, I don't know everything, and that's what they tend to do. And so we're so close. We're only 4 weeks away, and I'm so excited to cover this game and play it, and honestly just put out content for you guys. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. We love talking to you guys. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like these. Lastly, check out our Twitter account for gameplay on the latest releases. But most importantly, remember to stay 1 up.